Hello, my name is Samantha Castillo. I'm 19 years old, a freshman studying political science at FIU, and today I'm going to be talking about a crisis that is from newer times, but it's definitely something that we're suffering with every single day. And today I'm going to be talking about the shooting that happened on February 14th, 2018 in Parkland, Florida. And the problem did not arise that February 14th, but it was definitely a cry for help, a cry for change in the school system and the school safety of public schools and private schools and any institution that is taking care every single day of ensuring the education of students. It's something that would have been nonsense to think about thinking a couple years back, because as far as everyone knows, the school is the safest place for a child to be from when we're 5 years old, that we're learning the most basic knowledge of our lives, to we're young adults at 18 years old graduating high school, and even in college and university, like the place to be and the place to feel safe, where their children should feel safe and parents should feel safe dropping their kids off at school. And this was definitely a cry for help when on February 14th, Nikolas Cruz killed 17 people in a massive school shooting. This was in Marjory Stoneman Douglas, a high school located in Parkland, Florida. Nikolas Cruz was able to premediate the murder and premediate the school shooting. He was able to get his hands on an AR-15, and he walked into the school dressed as a regular student, and he killed 17 innocent people, with those including students, staff, faculty, teachers. And to this day, it's something that it's a gut-wrenching feeling to think that sitting in a classroom, sitting and learning in a classroom, and one minute to the next, you didn't notice that your like complete life is at risk, and your entire life just flashes before your eyes. These were the kids that were killed during this horrible shooting were from 14 to 18 years old, just beginning their life, just beginning their careers. And it's a lot of parents weren't able to say goodbye to their children. A lot of family members would have never imagined that day dropping off their kids at school, it was going to be what it was. And there's many incidents that have happened in the past in the United States where school shootings have happened, and how students have reacted, and how students have attained guns and been able to kill students in their own school. But it's something that should not be happening, and it's a crisis that we're living every single day. So Time magazine included the thought of having your child die before she finishes 9th grade, or just as she was getting ready for prom, graduation, college. The sounds of Fred Guttenberg's voice as he speaks from the podium about sending his daughter, Jamie, of 14 years old, to school, and not remembering whether he had the chance to say "I love you" that day. She was supposed to be safe, he said, breaking into tears. My job is to protect my children, and I send my kid to school. This just comes to show that parents have the responsibility of taking care of their kids, and their first thing that they can think of is, while I'm at my job, making money to sustain my family and making money to be there to give to my family, I send them off to school where they're going to learn, they're going to be safe, they're going to be taken care of, and when I get back to pick them up, my child will be there. But sadly, Parkland came to show that we don't have full control over what happens in the school hallways. We don't know what's going on through the minds of the kids who are walking through those hallways, and clearly, whether their reformations are passed and as much control as they try to put over gun control, kids are being able to have these types of weapons in their hand, and it's something that we might never be able to control. But school safety is definitely something that we'll be able to reform and we'll definitely be able to, and we have to make better for the safety of the new generations, the safety of the mental health of parents sending their kids off every single day to school without feeling that guilt or feeling that remorse of, I don't know if I'm gonna go pick up my child at 2:30 or whatever time they get released from school, and then my kids are gonna be there. That shouldn't be a worry that any parent has to go through, and nonetheless be a worry of a child sitting in a classroom. So, Florida Hall recalls Parkland and passes the school safety bill. The bill would require schools to develop plans to quickly notify parents if a school is suddenly shut down or evacuated during an emergency. Whether that's an active shooter, a tornado, or any kind of situation that threatens students, school safety officers would have to be trained in mental health prevention, and the Department of Children and Family would have to include school-related cases of people being involuntary committee for psychology evaluations under the state's Baker Act. This is something that I agree on, that it was passed. I agree that the school safety bill was passed, and I think that children should definitely be asked day to day if they're okay. They should go through more mental checkups, because we don't know what each student is going through. And being able to contact the families of the students who are in the schools when something like this happens is definitely something that should have always been around, but we should not have to let it get that far. We should not have to let it get that far of, if something happens, we'll call you. That if should not be there. It's like an if and when. It's expecting that something's gonna happen, and it's expecting that we don't have full control of what happens in our hallways. So when that does happen, we'll call you. It's more like, let's make sure this never happens again and no one has to suffer a school shooting again. So with that being said, I believe the Parkland shooting was a cry for help, for school reformation. No student should be afraid of going to school. No parent should be afraid of dropping their kid off at school. Mental health and the access of weapons in this newer generation and this new society that we're living in are two topics that need reformation, and Parkland was proof of that. It's a crisis that we live every single day, and that February 14th, 2018 was something that I would have never imagined happened so close to home. Just 30 minutes away from my home, 30 minutes away from my high school, I had to hear that 17 innocent lives were killed inside of a school. My cousin, who now goes to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School for baseball, has one of the best baseball programs in the United States, and because of sports, he went to that school, has told me countless stories of students who were there that day. Students who now go every single day to school with PTSD of what happened on February 14th. It is a crisis that needs help, and is a crisis that needs reformation, and no student should be afraid to go to school. On February 14th, 2018, Nicholas Cruz changed the entire world. For better or for good, I hope and I pray that Parkland, Florida changed the school reformation, and that from now on, students can say that with the reformations that will be happening with the school safety bills that are being passed, that one day students will feel safe at school again. I hope that I won't have to worry about sending my kids to school, that I won't have to worry about having to put my kids in home schools to be able to make sure that they live until they're past 20. How every kid should have the right to do, how every kid has the right to go to school and study and earn the knowledge and education that they deserve without being afraid. Thank you.